10 toes down in my B22s. Young ST hit the T and he blew. Pat came in, disappeared like the moose. Yeah, I'm at the mud, yeah, I'm really the truth. 10 toes down in his Christian's yard. They know me by my real name in the store. Pins and fiends made a killing.
Hello and welcome back to the Week in the Life series. This is episode 15. Today is Monday and the time is 9:49. Today is my first day back in the office after my hybrid working holiday last week in Dubai. I spent 5.5 days or pretty much 6 days out there working and relaxing. I was feeling overworked and I needed some time away. But with me being a solo business owner, it's very, very difficult to put all the tools down. And I didn't feel like I needed to. Anyway, so I spent 4 or 5 hours working every day, making sure I was managing the existing relationships that we had. Some of the tasks like business development and candidate sourcing took a little bit of a back seat, but we had a very productive week. With it being a last minute holiday, this week I've had loads of meetings booked in, which would have been going ahead usually, but I've had to cancel a few early ones today and tomorrow to make sure that I can catch up with all the tasks that I've got with my time off last week. Also, today is the new day where we start our new business model. Skylar has officially started as the Customer Success Director, and I am the only 360 consultant within the business for now. In the episode 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the changes in detail with me sadly parting ways with two of our other consultants and why Skylar has come in and what her responsibilities are, and more importantly, how that's going to be a benefit for me, our clients, and our candidates. If you watched last week's episode of me working remotely in Dubai, you would have seen me offer 3 different people and all 3 of those accepted. We also offered a 4th person, but that person needed the weekend to think things through. So with it being Monday morning today, we're going to give that person a call and hopefully get off to a great start this month and have an offer accepted today. But truthfully, I'm not 100% sure. With such a positive week last week in delivering offers, that obviously means some people have been unsuccessful. Whilst I was away, I sent them a very detailed message with some feedback and asked to have a chat today to make sure that they're happy with the feedback and also let them know that we are grateful for them to be working with us and hopefully that we can help them out moving forward as well. So as I always say, what goes up must come down. We can't just show all the good calls that we have, delivering offers and changing lives in some cases, but we've also got to show the things that are difficult as well. Outside of that, with me being the only 360 consultant right now, the podcast is on pause for 1 month, so there's no more studio time. However, in September, we've got 5 booked guests, and I'm going to be honest, 2 or 3 of those are probably the biggest guests we've had up until now. So the main focus for this week and what you're going to see throughout this Week in the Life series is me getting Skylar onboarded and upskilled in the customer success position. I've got a lot of candidate sourcing to do, both in the UK and the US, and I'm going to be doing a lot of sales to bring in some new business. Of course, in between that, I've got some meetings like one at 11 a.m. today. I've also got a lunch tomorrow with a potential client. So it's never a boring week in this business. And if you stick around to the end, I'll be sure to include some of my educational content now that I'm back in the office. And I guarantee that if you watch the whole of this video, you'll leave with more information or knowledge than when you come into it. Good morning, how are you? How's your weekend been thinking through then? What's your head telling you? Is that even with the workings out for the bonus as well, which would take it over 70k? Yeah, that's fair enough. I appreciate your feedback. You know, the ones that are a little bit higher salary, did they have this sort of progression available? Yeah, I mean, we battle with this topic all the time because we only work with startups. You know, companies will pay higher, but they will have someone above you, which you'd have to wait for them to leave or maybe even progress further than them. Or the startup life is, you know, as hard as you work is as far as you go. I'll let them know your thoughts, but I'm pretty confident, or almost certain actually, that 70k would be out of reach. I know they had to work pretty hard to get 65k as well. If miraculously they could do 70k, would you be open to that? You know, I'd rather ask and get told no pretty quickly. And so if this one comes in and they say 70, great, I'll call you back. If they don't, I'll just send you a text. I'll speak to the team today and I'll come back to you shortly. Thanks, bye-bye. And there you have it, an offer rejected in live time. I'm actually not too surprised, although it would have been nice to start the week right with an offer accepted on a Monday. There was a very bumpy process last week and this person almost dropped out with a little bit of coaching and with a different picture painted about the long-term opportunity. They stayed in the process. But ultimately, the offer has come in at where we expected it to be because of the budget, but slightly under, so £5,000 under. And that is a big chunk of money, and it's very, very important to that person. You would have seen that I've tried to be a good coach and talk about the long-term opportunity, the progression, which he hasn't had before, and some of the other things that are available in terms of a cash bonus and potential shares in the company. but it's not for them, and we can't push or persuade people otherwise. My only thing that I can do now is go back to the client, explain the situation, and that £5,000 increase would be huge and would make a massive difference. But for a VC-backed startup, sometimes budgets are budgets, and it's very difficult to get that signed off to go over. Thanks for chatting with me last week. I was really gutted when that feedback come through last week, especially after we had to wait a week or so to get it. I was hoping for a positive result. And obviously I want to make sure to see how you feel about it and, if there's anything we can do. So how did you feel when the news come through? Yeah, it was a bit of a competitive process and they actually went with someone who was referred to them. So I actually didn't make the placement in the end, which I was also gutted about. But you've done very well to get to the end of the process. I've got some feedback here that you presented yourself really well. You were enthusiastic about the company and the position. They thought some of the questions that you answered were answered in a way that you maybe thought that's what they wanted to hear rather than an honest answer. So I don't know if you think that's fair at all. Scenario-based questions are hard anyway, because you've got to think about like specific situations from your past. So if you haven't been exposed to that many, it's going to be an uphill battle from the start. The rest of it was really, really good. In terms of like moving forward, we don't have any other BA positions at the minute. Are you still keeping the job search up, to find something? I really appreciate you understanding. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, bye-bye. There, you would have just seen me do the first unsuccessful candidate call of the day. The other two people, I left a voicemail, so we should hear back later today. That might be off camera. Those calls are always difficult. For every person that gets an offer, there is usually one, maybe two people that don't. So we have to give them a call to make sure, number one, the main thing is that they think the feedback is fair. Secondly, to make sure that they are okay. And then thirdly, to see what the plans are moving forward and if they might be continuing their job search and do they want to work with us. Never an easy call, but it's the best thing to do to pick up the phone. So now we're going to move into training. Training's a little bit later today. The time is 1 p.m. and the training is not going to be focused on recruitment. With Skylar joining as the Customer Success Director, we are going to be training on what's important in the customer success position when speaking to candidates and clients. We're going to be doing training every single day for the next month. And today we're just going to do a high level overview of the responsibilities and how we can both get the most out of this position.
Hey, I'm Skylar McGeer. It's my first day at Place today as the new Customer Success Director. We're just about to get into my first whiteboard masterclass session and I'm really looking forward to it.
So we're ready. You've just seen Skylar and this is our first whiteboard masterclass session of the week. All of my training up until now has been focused on trying to help recruitment consultants to get better. I've never actually trained a customer success person, but it's my business and I know exactly what I want and how to look after my clients, both the candidate and the hiring companies. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so we're going to start on a high level overview of the customer success position. But you're going to be speaking to two different types of people. Yeah, so the candidate is number one. What is a candidate or who is a candidate?
The person who we're paying into the role.
Yes, the person that we've been working with to get the position. Yeah. And you're going to have other calls. Who's the other people you're going to be speaking to? The clients. Yeah. So if we're working with a candidate and we've just successfully helped them into a new position, your job is to set up a call with them. What sort of things do you want to find out?
If they're happy with the process.
Yes. So what about things within the process, right? So were they happy with how often we communicated? Yeah. The style of communication, were we too professional, not professional enough? The method, did they like being spoken to on WhatsApp? Did they prefer email? Would they have liked LinkedIn? Communication style, did they enjoy that we were relatable and friendly or would they have preferred someone a bit more professional? Were they happy with how often we kept them up to date? Another one is happy with the offer / negotiation. Are they happy with the number that they got given? There was a bit of a negotiation. How did we handle that? Did we do well? What attracted them to the position? So we really, really want to know, like, what stood out to them about this position? Was it the message? Because if it was the message and we keep hearing that, we know our messages are doing well. Was it the persistence? We emailed and we called and we text. What made us stand out about this position to contact them, yeah? What did we do different? Would they pass our details on to someone else who was looking for work? If they wouldn't, why not? And the last one, any areas to improve. Yeah, so here's all the good stuff. Are they happy with it? What attracts them? We're all talking about the positive stuff. If it's all positive, that's good because we know that we're doing the right things and we can continue doing that. But we need to find out some areas to improve. So they might say, we waited quite a long time between processes. Okay, that's really good for us to know. I wasn't too happy about the contract saying this. Okay, cool, we need to be aware of that moving forward as well. If someone's got this far throughout the thing and they've said, no, it's really, really good, we don't have anything bad to say, like, we're just super happy, that's great. Yeah, we really want that. But okay, come on, there's got to be one thing. We need to improve on something. Yeah, can you just no matter how small. Yeah. Even if it was WhatsApping me at 9 p.m. wasn't appropriate. Okay, thank you very much. At least we know that, yeah? In the candidate side, yes, we speak to them regularly, but after the offer's accepted, and I've done my part, you'll speak to them throughout their notice period, which might be once, twice, potentially up to 4 or 5 times if it's the free month. The day they start, the end of the first week, the end of the first month, the end of the second month, and then it passes over to the client. Whereas the client side of things, as a strategic partner, what we're looking at is 6 to 12, 18 months ahead of hiring, so the planned hiring. So this is where you're going to do much longer lasting relationships. When you're speaking to the clients, what sort of things are you looking to find out?
Are they happy with the candidate we faced? Did they meet their expectations?
Is they happy about the selection of candidates? Yeah? Because they should be happy with the person they've made an offer to. So if you go back to the beginning and we sent 3 profiles, for example, were you happy about the selection of the people that we sent you? What else?
Happy about our communication?
So the communication will be exactly the same as the candidates. Yeah, and this is really, really important on the client side. Anything else?
If there's any areas for us to improve?
Areas to improve. I don't think we'll ever deliver a perfect process. There's always some sort of hiccups. Even if we do it fast, we've done stuff in 7 days before, usually there's still a hiccup along the way.
Yeah.
Length of time. This is a very important one because we set very ambitious deadlines and we often want to hire people within, well, the submission for people is 3 to 5 days and we want to make a hire within 14 days. Don't always do that. Sometimes it might flex to about 21 days. But if we get to like 45 days, for example, we need to ask them, how do you feel about the length of time? What would be an ideal length of time next time? Is there anything we can change along the way to get that to a shorter time? And there's 2 more for the client side. The advice and the consulting. How was the experience dealing with Kieran, and the advice and the consulting that he provided? Was I able to give good salary information? Was I able to speed up the process and not lose anyone when we could have lost someone? So after you've delivered this, probably a 15, 20-minute call, you're building relationships. Is there any future hiring in the business? Oh yeah, we might have something in October actually. Oh, that sounds really good. Should we put a call in now? Yeah, let's do that. So it's my responsibility as well because we'll share this.
Yeah.
But ideally, you can tell me, I spoke to this person and they've said, oh, there's someone coming in October. They're going to need 2 people. Oh, great. And then we can plan ahead.
Yeah.
We can do pipeline. So there's lots of similarities, but there's a few differences as well. The main one being the length of time and the candidate selection and any future hiring, because this is where you can earn some commission.
Yeah.
You happy with all that? Yeah. And that is the end of Monday. I don't normally do the day wrap-ups anymore, but because it's my first day back in the office, I thought, why not? Skylar has just left after a very productive and busy first day in the office. She's done really well. There's going to be a lot to take in over the next week or 2 for her because she hasn't done a customer success position within recruitment. However, she's very good with people and building relationships, and that's all that matters. Today, we have landed 2 new vacancies. One of those is a lead engineer, and that's going to be retained. The second is a tech lead, also in the same stack for a different company. That's not retained, but it is exclusive. We've placed 4 people with that business this year. So we don't mind not working retained as long as it is exclusive. Outside of that, I've had to call 4 different people today to let them know that they have been unsuccessful in the final stage interview and they are not going to be receiving an offer. And as you would have seen this morning, I have to go back out to market for a position that we had an offer for and the candidate rejected. So my first day back in the office has been very, very full on. The tone has been set for the rest of the week already. Thanks for booking the meeting. How's things? What we do as a technology consultancy is we are partnered with 2 VC funds, but also some strategic partnerships like ShipShape. And we've spent the last 10 years working with early stage companies to basically get investment ready from a people perspective. Like we've made introductions when the introduction is right. All of these must be post-revenue. I think I noticed you were pre-revenue on this information you submitted. And after the investments come in, we normally get an introduction through the VC firm to come in and help scale the business through people. So everything we do is through people. So give me an idea about your world in terms of like raising, what's the situation? What's the experience been like with ShipShape so far? Has it provided you with any of the right investors that you need? It takes some refined searches, really trying to find your niche and understanding the data they provide. It's very data driven, but you can find some very good leads on there. I can already see the conversation from the people that we work with. So like everyone, rightly or wrongly at the minute, is saying, look, come back to us when you're making some money. It doesn't matter if it's most are looking at a great deal of money. We're talking like 300, 400,000 pounds up. But some want some traction. If you've managed to build something from March, like you said, and you've gone out and you've got 10 paying customers within the first 6 months, or really from when you've actually got the MVP, and you've got 10 paying customers from that in a month, at least that's some traction. Most people, if you go to people for investment at the minute, they're going to say, cool idea, but look, we got lots of ideas. Come back when you've got a customer. Yeah, rightly or wrongly, that's where the VC landscape is at the minute. Obviously, money's limited for ad spend and like driving that, but yeah, get that out, get some customers, get some feedback. So I've been in human capital for about 10 years now, which has always been varied around recruitment. More recently, like psychology-led analytics. So we've got a people analytics tool. Typically, when a VC would raise or deploy money into a startup, some of those hires are like real senior hires, which needs more in-depth work around human behavior and like ability. We do a recruitment piece as one. We've also got that which we are a white label seller for as well in terms of the platform. So that helps companies understand the people and the behaviors of the people that they're hiring and looking to hire. And then we also do fractional appointments as well, which is usually non-exec directors, previously been entrepreneurs, and often sit in the CFO or CEO title. We do our best work and have all of our success stories with companies that are 200-300K up, just about to raise money. So they're just going in, because what we found is when people go in to speak to investors, they don't know the people strategy. And then after is where we do a lot of our work as well. So they've just raised money, need to hire people. For you, for example, if and when you get some paying customers and you're ready to raise and you go in to speak to investors, one of the things that they're asking, we're going to give you the money, how are you going to hire a CTO? Oh, well, we don't know. We don't know how we're going to hire a CTO. Well, that's not good enough anymore. You know, you need to know not only your financials, not only your customer base, how much does it cost to acquire a customer, how long's the life cycle. You actually need to know how the hell you're going to hire the right people straight after. Hello, how are you? So you've been using ShipShape. I think you might have raised a bit of money up until now. You know, how's the journey been? I'm guessing it's very expensive to get the regulatory approvals. That's very difficult. What's the plan and how are you going to move forward on this stage? You can start looking to raise money now. Ah, okay. Have you been using ShipShape to the best use you can? ShipShape's a very good platform for you to look into those countries as well. It's very data driven, you know, so it might take a few different searches and keywords and some time to make sure it's right, but it's very effective once you get into the swing of things on there. So just to give you an idea, we are the official partner to ShipShape. We both strategically work with startups across the globe. You know, currently we're both expanding into the US. We do a lot of work over here in the UK and Europe as well. Where we come into play is two parts. Potentially it might be a little bit too soon here, but it's great to keep in contact. We can send you some information as well. Is just as you're gearing up to raise and you're actively having these VC conversations, we will help you, if it's needed, clearly define a people strategy. We found for all of our work in this space that lots of founders will know the financials, the market fit, the cost to acquire a customer, the length of the customer stay, but often they're missing the people side of things. And we've had too many people come to us and say, well, they've asked me when I'm going to hire a CTO or a CEO or a COO, and I didn't have the answer. So just as you're having these conversations, we can clearly help you identify like what the sort of salaries are, how you would find these people, what the market is like. So that's one part. So that's probably 2 to 3 months before you are actually going to get the investment. We can help you with that with a document. And then post-investment as well is where we do a lot of our work. So we're actually partnered with 2 VC firms and we get very welcoming introductions after the companies have raised money. We will help them scale through a number of different services, but ultimately hire the right people at the right time. Part of those VC introductions as well is we also are able to introduce people to them. The 2 that we are working with are looking for companies to be doing revenue between 400,000 and 500,000 for them to be considered. Rightly or wrongly, we'd love to have someone who is looking at pre-seed investments or maybe like, you know, small seed, but these are all post-revenue investors. We're looking to scale the business as well. So that's what we do. We are off into the city centre for our first and only lunch of the week. I am taking Skylar with me to meet Mr. Mark Hindmarsh and a special guest who I shall not name. So we're going to a place called Brown's to talk all things business, of course. This morning has been very interesting. The calls you would have seen from this morning are my first conversations from the ShipShape partnership that we have recently engaged in. So part of my email campaign is to reach out to anyone who has a certain minimum annual recurring revenue and a certain minimum raise that they're looking to do, and we will talk through their plans, if we can make any introductions to VCs, and if they need help with a people strategy so they don't get caught out when they're actually speaking to these investors. The calls are pretty good. There is some work to do on the quality of the lead because they weren't quite ready. One had the MVP, was only just starting. Ideally we want to get in when they are actually speaking to investors and they've got some traction, and then certainly after they've raised money as well. On top of that, we have organised 2 final stage interviews for tomorrow, or one is tomorrow and one is on Friday. And we've booked a number of meetings for Skylar to have her first few customer success calls. So we've booked 3 already, and I think 3 or 4 more have come back.
Yeah.
The feedback from our clients has been very good so far. They've all come back relatively quickly to say that they are happy to have a call, what sort of questions are going to be asked, and they appreciate a time, so it seems, where they can be honest about the process. For now, we're about 15 minutes away from lunch. We're going to sit down, and we've got a busy afternoon sourcing for some of these open vacancies. So, as always, if you haven't checked out our live job list, this is how you do it. Go ahead and click apply, and I'll give you a call as soon as I'm back from lunch.
I don't do the late night text, ask my ex. I'm just trying to double these checks. They're saying burners up next. I'm still with the guys, still trying to pebble these Zeds. If I rob one of your guys, I'll say it was I. True say I done it with chess. Bro saying stick to the stew, that's fire in the booth. And I ain't even breaking no yo.
I'm good, man. Thanks for making the time anyway. I appreciate it. I know absolutely zero, apart from a Google search yesterday. A lady called from Rec Finder. She emailed me just saying, do you spec? We've introduced a new room on our platform. I am a phone adrenaline junkie, just pure sales calls. And she said, oh, you should check out this platform. I said, okay, I'll book a call. And here I am. I use Atlas for CRM, just hate admin. That solves that problem. So I use that. I use Lusher. I use an AI-powered dialer called Salesfinity, LinkedIn Recruiter, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't do any workflow automations on emails. I don't do anything AI related at all. We only work in tech. We only work with startups. I mean, we don't really go higher than 50, 70 employees. They're usually VC backed, but it's always startups, nothing else. But it looks really good. I mean, can you show me the automated, not automated, or the spec-in part of the platform? As I pack up for the day, I thought I would give you an idea about some of the things that are on my mind for the next few weeks, because there's going to be some big changes in this business. With it being just me as the only 360 consultant, or the only person making sales really, I'm now looking heavily into what I can use AI and automation for. I've always avoided it, mainly because I really enjoy it. The human touch, and it's almost like a USP. With Skylar coming on board as the customer success director, that allows me to focus heavily on sales and candidate experience. So I need to be looking at things that can automate leads for me. We obviously work with ShipShape now, and those leads have been pretty solid. The call that you would have just seen me there, I don't mind giving it away. I'm so generous. It was a company called Venture AI. The monthly subscription is pretty fair, and they also provide leads per month. I've also been looking into a number of other different things like LinkedIn Helper, La Growth Machine, MailChimp, Clay setups for email automation, but I don't want to be doing a mass spam email generic campaigns. They are spray and pray, no hyper focus, and I'm just hoping that something will come through. I am looking to automate the parts of my position which I know can be automated, and I don't actually need to do them manually. It's just emails, and it's just certain text prompts and so on. What I am interested in, because I seem to get a lot of people reaching out to me saying, hey, watched your week in the life. Have you thought about our product? Source Whale Rep, if you're watching this, you do pretty good. You always contact me at the right time. I still don't think Source Whale's for me, but if you're seeing this, now might be a good time to reach out. I am interested and might look into a impressive technical consultant who can help me out with all of this automation. I did speak to someone earlier this week who's looking into some Clay things for me and some other automation. That person was great. As soon as I spoke to one person, I thought I might put it out there to see if anyone else might be interested. Highly technical consultant, lots of automation for me. How can you make my life easier? I'm in the market. Pitch me. Today is a bit of a weird day. It's Wednesday afternoon, and this is when we do BD call coaching every single week. For about 9 months, I've had at least one, sometimes 2 people with me on these BD call coaching sessions. I really enjoy them. It's really great for the team to get better, but it's just me and Skylar, but Skylar doesn't do any sales yet. I really enjoy the BD call coaching, and I know a lot of people watching also do. I've had many messages saying that people are learning from these sessions, so I can't get rid of it. I'm going to have to do BD call coaching on myself, which I should be doing anyway. With it being just me in the business this week, I am back full firing on sales. I've been doing sales for about 2 hours today, and I've got to be honest with you, I absolutely love it. So I've had about 7 connected calls. We're going to listen to 2 of the shorter ones. At the minute, I'm covering bases by calling people that Bailey or Kyle spoke to in the last couple of months, introducing myself and finding out if the information that was provided on the CRM is true and if there's any future plans to hire. So these are relatively short calls, but let's see how they went. Rather than me write down some notes and then do it at the end, I'm going to go live time each intro, objection handle, and give my honest thoughts. If it's terrible, I'll say, but if it's very, very good, I'm happy to give myself some compliments. So let's see how the first call goes.
Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor here. We've not spoken before, but you had a very good conversation with my colleague Bailey about 3 weeks ago, on the 22nd. Can you give me some more context, please?
Okay, let's stop there. I actually do this on purpose. So what I found that some people do is they always say, hey, we had a very good conversation last week about recruitment. Instantly, the conversation goes a little bit flat. So purposefully, on every single call, you hear it on this one, you hear it on the next one, I say we had a very, very good call 3 weeks ago. I'll try and be specific. On the 22nd, almost every time, the answer to that will be, can you remind me? And then they've given you authority to go in and explain what the call was about. So that pause where I give little information, it's actually meant to be there, and I usually get the response where it's, okay, go in, just tell me what that call was about then.
You spoke for about 4 or 5 minutes about recruitment, some of the stuff that you've done in the past, working with external agencies, and you requested some more information. For whatever reason, we got to part ways with Bailey, so I thought I'd give you a call myself as the founder to see if there might be any plans to make any hires in this half of the year.
Okay, yes, I remember. We're not at the moment, but Bailey did send me a follow-up, so I have the information there, so I know to reach out to you guys when and if that becomes relevant.
So that part was quite good. I speak very fast. I speak very, very fast, but I like that. It shows the urgency and it shows that I want to be there. So I think my tonality was pretty good there. I like that I referenced, and this is the good thing about using a tool like Salesfinity or any sort of call recording cloud software. So we use Aircall as well. It records specifically what you said. So I've managed to mention 3 or 4 things there where he specifically said something and it's, oh yeah, I remember now, and that's the idea. And now the objections start to come. But I like the way, and I like when other people do it to me as well, when you are on a sales call and they are reciting specific information.
I got you. Okay, yeah. And is that is the email with all the information, has that gone into the junk folder?
No, I saw it. Yeah.
You got it, yeah.
It's in my most important folder.
Top of the list, I hope. Okay, so just for me to know, when you have any sort of planned recruitment over the next 6 months before the end of the calendar year?
Not really. We're in a sustainability recession, so we're kind of tied to market forces. So hiring's on hold for now.
But my final question, I'm curious, sustainability recession, what do you mean by that exactly?
2 things to take away there, which I think, one bad thing actually, I've said final question quite early on in the call. I usually use that as a tactic to, it's a psychology trick where it lets them know that the call is nearly over. So they're happy to be open on the last question or 2. This one actually went on for another minute and a half, sometimes even longer. So the one last question, final question, it's a bit of a trick to do that. But I've used it too early here, so I shouldn't have used it there. What I did like is the curiosity. When he said sustainability recession, I think I know what he means. I know what a recession is and I know what the sustainability industry is. But what does he mean? Can you give me an example from that? And if this is his world, this is the industry that he works in, he should be in a position to be quite passionate about that and give me an answer to show that he knows his stuff.
Businesses and regulators caring much less about sustainability than they did 6 to 10 months ago, and we're in the sustainability services business, so
really
that dictates our fate.
So you're seeing businesses care less about sustainability?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Wow, it was the big thing, the last year and a half. All companies promoting.
Yeah, a combination of Trump's election and Europe being on a deregulation drive, particularly in sustainability, have caused that.
Let's leave it for a few months, and I'll send you an email with my contact details, and that'll be the last one.
Just as a reminder, do you guys focus on tech and engineering roles, or you focus on commercial roles?
There is a good sign. There is a buy-in signal. For 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I've been on the call asking him questions. If I'm consistently asking questions, I'm the salesperson, right? I'm trying to draw information. If he's paused and asked me what specifically do we work on, what do we do, engineering or commercial, there's a reason he's asked that, number one. So likely there are some planned hires for the future. Do we fit into that? But secondly, I've built up some trust, a small amount of credibility and trust for him to say, this guy might actually be worth keeping in touch with. Let me find out what he does.
That's a good question. So we are a startup, essentially, ourselves. So we're in year 2. We've got a team of 5 people, and we work in only with tech startups. So we won't work with anyone with more than 30 employees. That's very important for us. In the tech side, so software, data, AI, and product. And then commercial, which is always sales and marketing. We don't really do anything else outside of that. The harder, the better. So like we're typically doing founding engineers, founding sales teams. So like the early stage hires are what we do.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Looking over the YouTube channel, they've probably got it, but also some of the reviews from our VC partners as well. So keep that on board, and when the time's right, we can certainly speak again.
Perfect. Okay, thanks so much.
And that's call number 1 that we're listening to. So overall, I think fairly good call. In fact, a rating out of 10, probably 8. I think I may have been able to get some more questions about like what have they done up until now. Yeah, I didn't really cover about any recruitment they've done this year, maybe in the last couple of years. If they've used an agency before, I've missed quite a lot of the past, and that's poor for me because I say about the past, present, future framework. So I've gone straight to the future. Yeah, that's definitely the one thing that stands out there. And the one thing I like is the curiosity. It's almost a hack in sales, and it's probably the hardest thing anyone will ever learn, active listening. The thing that I've learned is if I take interest in someone else, for him, that is sustainability. You know, it's quite obvious that he works in that space and that's an area he feels passionate about. I can stay on a call for much longer and build a stronger relationship. So it's a bit of a sales hack. Just talk about what people enjoy and try and find an interest in what they like talking about as well. For me, sustainability isn't the most exciting thing in the world to me, let's be honest. However, I do actually care about it and would like to do my small part. That if someone here cares about it, let's talk about that. Overall, decent call. Definitely one for the pipeline, and he would likely get a call back in 1 month. If you're watching this, Mr. Person who I just spoke to, I'm going to call you in 1 month.
Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor here. We've not spoken before, but you had a very good conversation with my colleague Bailey on the 17th of last month.
Okay.
A bit more context, you suggested you should email over. I think at the time you were chatting to a few recruiters about some upcoming recruitment. We've had to part ways with Bailey at the moment, so me as the founder thought I'd give you a call myself to see if there's any progression your side in terms of upcoming vacancies that you might be looking for.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't really got anything on at the moment. Yeah, we're not hiring, and we probably won't be hiring until next year, I think.
I appreciate the honesty. Was there something before and that's just been now put on pause, or was there nothing a few weeks ago as well?
Well, it's not that there was nothing. Basically, our company is kind of very much in like bootstrap mode.
I'll pause it there. The intro, again, I use that one every time, like I did on the last call. I will not tell them what the call was about, but I'll say it was a very good call. I'm giving away my secrets here, but I will always say it's a very good call. As long as it was over 3-4 minutes and we had a back and forth, I will say it was a good call, and then I get a chance to explain. I've just asked a very poorly worded question there, which I'm not too happy with, and that's why I got a bit of a backup response. I almost questioned his information that he gave us a couple of weeks ago, where I said, was there anything a couple of weeks ago, or was there nothing? I meant it in a good way, but it's come out in a way that he probably felt like I was questioning the accuracy of his information. So I didn't mean that, and that question could have been worded better there.
We just kind of hit break-even point, so for further hiring to happen, we have to have the profit, and there was obviously an expectation of profit that hasn't quite materialised. Whenever I spoke to your colleague, whatever I told him at the time would have been true, and it's just hasn't quite moved forward the way we wanted in that time frame.
Well done, first and foremost, for breaking even. That's a very good achievement. Do you plan to raise any VC private equity money to help scale at any point, do you think?
I don't think we ourselves know the answer to that question. I think we'd rather do it organically rather than take another cash injection and dilute people. We do hope to hire. It's just going to be at a bit of a slower rate.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate the honesty. I guess my final question, curious, your profile says United Kingdom. I've just looked at, and they're based in Newport, which is, we're South Wales as well. Where are you personally based?
In and around Bristol, with a couple of people in London. Newport is where our company is located in terms of company's house.
Yeah, got you. We've had a few of those recently with the active alongside Dev Bank here in South Wales, and part of that is you have to set up a world presence and do your best to try and employ people down here as well. So, but just in terms of next steps, it doesn't sound like there's much reason for me to call you anytime soon. But do you think into the new year there might be some look at increasing the headcount in the tech team?
Absolutely, yeah. This is where the investment will be going. So if we're going to be doing any hiring, it'll be into my team.
I'll send you across some information. It's got my YouTube, the book, some of our reviews as well from the VC partnered companies we work with. Keep that on board. I mean, if anything comes in the meantime, cool. But if not, I'll give you a call towards the end of the year or early next year. That's all right.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you very much.
And that is call number 2. I like the tone. I think I sounded urgent and motivated like I want to be there. I think the tonality was pretty good there. I managed to keep him on the phone for some time, even though it was quite clear there was no recruitment. He definitely said that they've only just broke even and they haven't taken any VC or private equity money. So it's going to be very hard to invest in people coming into the business, especially with an agency, if you've only just broken even. So the rest of the questions provide me with some information. So I know that they're going to be looking to hire in the new year in his team. He's the technical director. I know they've taken on some investment from a fund that we're aware of. A couple of things that I didn't find out, again, were things to do in the past. And again, past, present, future framework. They hired before, and I would like to know, now I've listened to it back, did they use an agency? Have they got a preferred agency? And, how did they work with that agency? So I know if it's worthwhile keeping in contact. That was a good call, and it's definitely going to go into the callback file, and I'm quite happy with those two calls. The follow-up calls are never anything special. Call number 1 is, have you done well enough to be remembered and get a second callback? Call number 2 is where you start showing credibility by remembering specific information, and it's usually between touch point 3 and 7 where the magic happens. That's where I get the most meetings, that's where I get the most value. And the best time to call people is when they're not actually recruiting. So we can build a relationship, we can take the speed of the process in the way that we want to, and we're not up against it last minute against different agencies. So for those 2 calls back, I'm quite happy with those. And I'm going to carry on making some sales calls. We've got a few vacancies I need to fill as well, but today is going to be a sales-focused day. Today, we have some big news, and Skylar has finished her first customer success call with one of our clients. She has also been very kind to give us a review on camera on how it went. She spoke to one of our candidates who has just accepted a founding sales rep position for one of our most valued clients. You have also introduced an NPS system. Yeah. So, first and foremost, most importantly, what score did you get on your first NPS system review?
So we got a straight 10 out of 10 on our first NPS score system, which was implemented today. And
hats off to you, because you were the person who implemented the NPS system. You managed to find 3 different ones and you've chosen the best one. Yes, and we got 10 out of 10, 100% so far, so well done. That was your first call, so give us some of the things that went well and what things you need to work on.
The things that went well was the candidate was lovely. It was really easy to talk to. Really good, honest feedback as well. Very thoughtful feedback, which was nice. Not just generic answers. Areas to improve are definitely to slow down. I spoke very quickly and got flustered for some reason, but it was the first one, so the next one I'm just going to talk a bit slower.
So you did very well on that first call. The person you were speaking to was very lovely.
Yeah.
We've really enjoyed working with that person. And yeah, you could have slowed down, but it was your first one and you were a little bit nervous to do a really good job, and you did do a good job. So well done. Your second one's tomorrow, and I'm sure you're going to be a little bit more relaxed. And if you're curious to see the feedback that we did get on our NPS system, you can check out Skylar's LinkedIn post here, where she tells a short story about how we help this person, what you can get if you work with Place, and the exact feedback that person shared with us. Final question from me then, how many calls have you got booked in so far? Bearing in mind you've only been here 3 days, how are you looking?
So we've got 11 confirmed calls, which is absolutely crazy considering we haven't had any customer success calls. So to get those confirmed straight away from all the candidates and clients is very exciting.
Exactly that. We've had a very good response from both the clients, the companies that are hiring into their teams, and the candidates. To have 11 calls booked in, and we only started asking 2 days ago. We're very, very pleased with that. And I think because of Skylar's good work, we're going to have to put a plug in for her newsletter. So if you aren't already subscribed, please follow this link here. What do they get with your newsletter?
They get a free recipe, a snack recipe, and a free mini ebook of whole food recipes for the week.
Come on, we're practically giving it away at this stage. Not only are you getting recruitment tips, sales tips and psychology tips, you're now getting diet advice and nutrition from us. So please go subscribe to that for your free ebook. Alongside our very good NPS score that we've received today, I have also thought of some very helpful content to share with you people, because we've been having a number of interviews over the last few weeks for people that we are representing in processes. And despite me giving out lots of help and lots of preparation before the interviews, certain people seem to be falling down at the same part. So I'm going to talk to you very, very briefly about scenario-based questions, how you can prepare, and more importantly, how you can answer them when you are interviewing. Before I go into my experience and personal opinion, you should check out this website here, Test Gorilla. This is the best one that I found online. It was a quick Google search. It was on the first page. But out of 3 or 4, this seems to be the most realistic one I found. It gives you 20 examples of questions. I've never really seen any of these specifically asked, more than once, but a lot of them are, they're certainly a good example for what a scenario-based question is, and they get you thinking. So that's the main thing. It also gives you a few examples on how you would answer them and what sort of things you can think about to be able to have an answer. So how can you prepare for scenario-based questions? There's one thing that I'm going to guarantee, and that every interview process, no matter how long, will eventually have some of these questions in. They are a great way for people to find out more information about you. So it's very, very important that you answer these in the best way possible. Whenever we are representing someone, I always suggest to think back to at least 3 stories throughout your professional career about things that either went well, didn't go so well, were game-changing, where you did something incredible, or when you really thought about those stories. You have to work through a 4-step framework. At least I believe you do, to get the best answer possible. So number 1 is what you've already done, and is acknowledge the story. Step number 2 is work through the intricate details. What happened? Why did it happen that way? What part did you play in that story? And what part did other people play in that story? That's probably going to be the most timely part of the 4-step framework. Step number 3 is, what was the outcome? So after you've thought about what happened, who was involved, and why it went that way, what was the outcome? And the final thing, and probably the most important part, which I imagine a lot of people miss, is what have you learned from that situation? If you want to go one step further than that, is what have you learned and implemented from that day? Let me give you a made-up example from my world. Let's imagine that someone asked me a question: can you give me a time where you thought you had a client signed and ready to work with you, but they pulled out at the last minute? What did you do? Anyone that's worked in sales, you will know this is pretty common. So I've acknowledged the story. I've understand all the intricate details, what's happened, who was involved. In my mind, my communication could have been better. I could have made more touch points and included different senior leaders within the sale. In this made-up story, that was my problem, that I was only speaking to one person, let's say the head of engineering, but the CTO and the VP of engineering also needed to be included in the decision. The outcome was, at the end of the process, when the terms were almost not signed, I realized by asking the right questions that there was more decision makers that needed to be involved in signing the terms of business. As a result of that, I got authority from the head of engineering to approach and call the CTO and the VP of engineering to get my pitch across, as well as our position and why we are the best people to help. The outcome of that was we actually signed terms of business ahead of a different agency that the CTO wanted to, because they respected that I gave them a call. Since that day, I am always asking the question to the head of engineering or whoever I'm dealing with: is there anyone else that needs to be involved in signing these terms of business before we move forward? And that is a very short example on exactly how I would use the 4-step framework to answer a scenario-based questions, which are always going to come up an interview process, and a real life example. Well, a made up example, but I made it seem like it was real life. I appreciate you putting the time into the presentation. It looks really, really good. I read it twice yesterday. And as long as you're okay with it, we've done so many of these processes that I always think it's good for us to have a look over it as well. My only suggestion is potentially tie those things in with some war stories, if you like, or certainly some success stories. We as humans feel connected to stories. You kind of feel like you understand more. So, I'm thinking, is there a story where, over your career where you've improved or changed something, and how did that play out as well? They can obviously read off the slide whilst you're talking. So if you can weave in the story to the text on the slide, that's the winner. Have they done any scenario-based questions with you yet? That's the only thing I tell people to prepare for at this level, at these stages. Whether they ask them directly or they're certainly looking for those sorts of scenarios that you bring up. And most people stop at what they learned. Yeah, but what have you actually implemented since then? That's good. Yeah, branding in terms of how it looks visually, it's cool. You don't need any more than that, right? It's more about the quality of the content, but visually it looks good. I think it's going to be, a good presentation, a review of the presentation. And I'd like to think, based on what we've spoken about here, you will cover off most of their scenario-based questions with your stories. Just a thought out loud, just come to me now. References. They haven't asked me to get references yet, but I'm just thinking, have you got anything from the past couple of years which maybe you could take with you? I would, yeah, because if it goes really well and then you supply references same day, like that could move things along pretty quickly. I will send you a text on Monday morning just to say good luck. And then I'll message you around midday, like 12ish, so we can have a call and share some feedback. No worries, you have a great day and a great weekend, yeah? That was one of our very early calls today on Friday. So when we are representing candidates throughout our process, sometimes for the more senior positions, they will be asked to do a presentation. This person has been through a 4-stage interview process for a sales director of EMEA. The salary is a whopping 150,000. So he will be presenting to 4 people within the team. Every single time that someone has to do a presentation, we will ask them to send it to us first so we can have a review. They are the subject matter experts, so we always trust them, but it's nice to have a different set of eyes look over it. Sometimes we can see things that they can't. Sometimes they might even miss some blind spots. We have had so many presentations shared with us just this year, and we've had so much feedback from clients that we're able to share with people what specific companies are looking for. That person has his final stage interview on Monday, and I've got my fingers crossed for him and for us that one works out. Today is a very meeting-heavy day. We'll start with Skylar. Sky, how many meetings have you got today?
I've got 2 candidate calls and 1 call with a company to see how we can add automation.
Nice. So Skylar's got 3. That is her third, or this will be her third candidate success call this week. We are on 100% on our MPS score system, as you would have seen yesterday. So we're going to do our best to keep that 100%. And then 1 more for a company that are going to support us with automation. Coincidentally, I also have 3 meetings. One is in 8 minutes, and that is with a potential consultant. I've done some recruitment for their business, actually. But one of his side hustles is, like Skylar said, setting up automation and AI agents for businesses. So this is something we are looking into heavily. It's going to be a 30-minute call to see if he might be able to help us over the next 3 months. The next 2, one is a coffee here in the Maltins for an hour, and one is online at 12 p.m. for an hour. These are both introductions from Mark Heinmarsh. So thank you very much, Mark. One is potential new business, and one is a solid contact to meet, although there won't be any new business opportunities there. A couple of weeks ago, I had a cold call, and I don't get many cold calls, from someone who was South African, and he was actually working for a marketing agency that I know. I've seen this guy on LinkedIn. He's messaged me quite a bit. I think the work that they do is pretty good. So he's employed him as a full-time SDR, and I was pretty impressed with the call. So immediately reached out to this guy, said, look, not sure if it's right for me, but we need to chat. In between that, I am still sourcing for some vacancies. We've got 5 open positions at the minute. And of course, I've got to be doing loads of sales to try and bring in some pipeline. It's going to be quite an interesting day, I think. Right, let's get into it. I know you're going to be busy, man. The focus is me doing as much sales as I can. I love the phone. I love bringing a new business, love winning new business. I've hired Skylar, so she's customer success. So she's going to do everything post-sale. I'm going to do everything pre-sale. And I need to automate as much as possible, because I'm doing so much manually. I work at lightning speeds, and it's always been that way. But there's so much I do, which is just pointless. Like, it really is pointless. The one that caught my eye, by the way, it pulls a company report when you've got a meeting in the calendar, and it provides you information. Like, that is just so game changing for me. Like, I just don't have that. And even that is like, yes, that's very beneficial. Is there anything you have tried to automate which you can't? Like, how far can this go? Well, this might be a problem. I've moved to a new CRM. I moved for one reason. The one reason is I literally do no admin. Once a number and email address is on the system, actually before I even set it up, it backlogged everything in my Gmail for 3 months. Calls are recorded, transcribed, audio and text. They are text, WhatsApps, everything is on there. So essentially I don't do any admin. However, API key is not coming until Q4, and it's killing me because I can't get my website connected, I can't get anything else connected. So would that throw a spanner in the works for quite a bit of it? I've downloaded and got a free trial on LinkedIn Helper. I've also looked at La Growth Machine. LinkedIn Helper looks a little bit better. Is that what you're referring to when you would say outreach using LinkedIn? Or again, is this using NA10 agents? The one that you've shared already, we've spoken about, that's good. Like, that's a yes. I want to find like 3 or 4 more, and I'm pretty confident I could just, we could move to a next step then. If you could, just send me as many examples as you got, just ping the link and I'll watch them. Yeah, cool. Well, if you ping them over today, if you got time, I will get back to you probably by Wednesday next week at the latest. I appreciate your time today. Speak soon. Happy Friday indeed. How are you? How did the launch go? I'm always fascinated by the complexities, sometimes good, sometimes bad. I see it's a small team. How many hats are you wearing? Are you doing all the sales and the customer success and looking after people? Yeah, taking the bins out as well. Yeah. Love that. Haven't heard anyone say that in some time. I hear of ambition, but I haven't heard anyone say those specific words, so that's nice to hear. Just had that conversation. I was for a coffee downstairs with a partner. We were talking about like the limited opportunity for entrepreneurs, you know, in the startup space from a tech perspective for, you know, private equity and VC investment, often having to go to London, you know, sometimes just being okay with mediocre growth. You know, we don't really get those big, huge companies who are aggressively driving forward, trying to, trickle down the benefits to other people as well. I'm bloody obsessed with like human intelligence, emotional intelligence, cognitive behaviours, and really want to try and incorporate the psychology into recruitment. Tell me, I've been researching for the past 50 minutes before I come on the call. I'm fascinated by emotional intelligence and anything to do with, you know, human capabilities, but what's the pitch that you give people? Yeah, I only did one this morning actually. We got a final stage interview on Monday for a very, very senior sales director position, and I'm already thinking about that, how that could, this could benefit. Imagine everything went well over the next couple of months. Like, what do you think you could be further along in terms of revenue by November time when you'd be looking to raise? So, like, some of the intricate details change depending on the company and industry. Is that what you're saying? So that's interesting, and I'd welcome more information and a conversation on that as time goes on. Good to see other people win. So I'll speak to you soon. Bish bash bosh, that is the second meeting of the day done. The first one was the AI and automation part. A potential consultant who's going to do everything for us, set up so many workflows. Value for money, I think, is really, really good, but it is a big investment for us and something we're going to be looking into. That one was with a potential new client. They're going for a raise in November. The product is extremely interesting. It's an AI platform to understand emotional intelligence better, which is interesting but scary. You know, AI is very prevalent for all of us, and I don't know if the average person is ready to understand their emotions a little bit better, or let AI do that, but it was a good call nonetheless. I'm going to grab some lunch and get ready for a big afternoon.
Hey, how's your day been? Yeah, good, thank you. Very busy, but yeah, just how I like it. So I'm Skylar, the Customer Success Director at Place. Thank you for making the time to speak to me today. Just to set the expectations for our call today, I'll just need you for around 15 minutes. And I've basically got 5 questions for you to answer. But my main mission is to make sure that you've had a great experience with us. And if you haven't, you're welcome to be as honest as possible with me, and then I can make sure to relay everything constructively to the team. So I just have the 5 questions. Firstly, how your experience has been working with Kieran in Place. Okay. You've been happy with how Kieran's handled those delays. Okay, perfect. So kept in the loop along the whole process. That's good. Second question I have is, what was the thing you liked most about working with us? That's great. What areas would you have liked to see us do better in? And you've liked the terms of communication you've had, the frequency of communication, everything like that's been perfect. How was working with Kieran any different to any other recruiters? No, I completely understand that. So like that more personable approach. I guess it speeds up the process as well. There's no delays, it's just a WhatsApp quick message. And then my last question is, would you recommend us to your friends and colleagues? Is there anyone you have in your circle that is looking for any specialist jobs? Just keep us in the loop, because we've got like a referral program and that in place. So yeah, just keep us in the loop. I just have one favor. I've implemented a new NPS system, so this would be completely anonymous. Could I pop that over to you after this call? It takes less than 90 seconds, but it just helps us improve our candidates' experience moving forward. But that's all the questions I have. Just in terms of next steps, I'll be keeping in touch with you, so I'll give you a ring throughout the whole transition period. I'll be in touch with you, giving you a ring every 2 weeks. But if anything comes up in the meantime, just feel free to reach out to me or Kieran. It's a massive change in people's lives, like career changes. So we just want to make sure that Kieran gets you into the right role, and then I can then support you at the end. It was really nice to speak to you, and thank you for making the time for this. It's nearly the end of my first week with Place, and I've just finished up my 3rd candidate success call. The feedback's been amazing so far with all of the candidates that I've spoken to. We're currently at 100% on our NPS score system. So we'll keep you posted on our results next week when I've had more calls.
We are wrapping up, episode 15 of the Week in the Life series. This week has been my first week back in the office since working remotely in Dubai. It's also been Skylar's first week as the Customer Success Director. We've implemented loads of things, including the new NPS scoring system. We are also implementing our referral program, both for clients and candidates, where we pay you money for any successful introductions. On top of that, I actually delivered an offer this week, but I didn't get it on camera. So on Monday, we've agreed to speak again, where we should hopefully have an offer accepted. And we've also got 2 other final stages on Monday. Next week's looking exciting. As always, thank you very much for watching this series. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Run through 5, 1, know what I expected this week. I'm alive, 1, that's what I expected this week.